Hello, and welcome back to another Half Pint session. My name is David Bates, and as you can tell from my appearance, I recently became a United States citizen. So we have family dinner tonight, and I wanted to make sure that I looked particularly special for it, which is why the beard got trimmed into this, and I'm wearing this, I've got to admit, beautiful shirt. But this is a Half Pint episode, and I am here with a guest from the Museum of the Bible. Wesley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, David.
Would you mind just introducing who you are, what you do, and where you work?
Yeah, my name is Wesley Viner. I'm the early modern curator at the Museum of the Bible. For any of your guests who aren't familiar, Museum of the Bible is a museum in Washington, D.C. We're located just off the National Mall, and we cover the history and impact of the Bible. We recently launched an exhibit on C.S. Lewis, a temporary exhibit. It's open now, and it'll be open through February 2026.
Mm-hmm. So what was your own background? How did you end up working for the Museum of the Bible?
Well, I'm a historian, early modern historian by training. And the museum covers a great span of history from antiquity down to the modern day. And like any museum has sort of a team of curators covering each section that they have their sort of respective expertise in. So I curate normally our early modern material. So this is predominantly European material, but some American material from about 1500 till around 1800. Before that and after that, other folks take over, which in some sense makes me perhaps a bit of an odd person to curate an exhibit on C.S. Lewis. But my scholarly interests coincide with Lewis's own scholarly interests. And so I have sort of long been a sort of fan of Lewis and his work. Some of his books have a bit of a cult following in my field. Thematically, I work on both the history of the Bible and the history of science. Mm-hmm. One of Lewis's books, The Discarded Image, sort of study of medieval and Renaissance science, has a great following in my discipline. One of the great underrated books of the 20th century, I think. So at the museum, we explore the history, the impact, and the stories of the Bible. We're a nonpartisan, non-sectarian institution, so we focus squarely on the history. We want all people to be able to come and learn about the Bible, learn about its composition, its transmission over time, its impact on the world around them, because whatever one's particular faith commitments, we can't deny that the Bible has been perhaps the most impactful book in history. And we want to help people understand how it shaped the world that they live in.
Yeah, I was saying before we hit record that I'm really annoyed because I lived in DC twice for about 3 months apiece. And it was after I left that the Museum of the Bible then began. So I need another trip back to DC. Now that Matt is living in Alexandria, Virginia, we need to go visit him again and take the opportunity to come see you guys.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Come before next February, and you'll be able to visit the C.S. Lewis exhibit.
Yeah, well, we're having a baby this summer. Yeah, we could do that. I'm sure we can.
Okay. We're a kid-friendly museum. We have plenty for kids to do.
Well, could you actually...
my kids, and they quite enjoy it. So
yeah. Well, could you just say a little bit more about the museum? It's like, where does it come from? Who was it that started it? How did it begin?
Yeah, so the museum's been around for coming up on 8 years now. It was founded primarily by the Green family, who some people may be familiar with, the owners of Hobby Lobby, but additionally a number of other donors who wanted to have an institution in DC that explored this incredibly impactful book and its legacy in the world today. And so it was many years of effort prior to the launch of the museum to assemble the collection and set it up and launch the museum. It's a very large place. I'd recommend, if you're coming, give yourself a few days, because you can't explore the whole thing in one day. We have several 100,000 feet of galleries and objects and information to explore, ranging from something like this Lewis exhibit, which is a bit of a more academic exhibit for people who are inclined in that direction, to kids material, interactive movies, and a whole lot more. We have both permanent exhibits and rotating temporary exhibits. So if you come one year and you come back again the next year, you'll see new stuff. There's always something new to see here. Right now, some of the highlights that we have at the moment are C.S. Lewis exhibit, which has just launched, which I can talk a bit about, some of the things that are included there, as well as an exhibit on the Megiddo mosaic, which is the earliest archaeological attestation to the divinity of Christ. It's a large 4 mosaic, 3rd century, discovered in Israel, that contains a reference to Jesus as God. And for the Lewis fans out there, we also have a theater that hosts a wide variety of different events, from music to plays. And right now, Logos Theater is putting on a production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's here for about another month, and I think it's coming back next fall. So it's quite a show. Highly recommend it for anyone in the area.
Yes, I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes to my interview with the folks from Logos Theatre when they were talking about, I think it was The Horse and His Boy that they were just about to release. You've also had some connections with Dr. Diana Glyer, I believe.
Yes, actually, her play is showing as well. So another highlight for Lewis fans out there. So for anyone who doesn't know, Diana Glyer is an Inkling scholar from Azusa Pacific University. She both helped identify a few of the objects that are on display in the exhibit right now. And she also has released a book, The Major and the Missionary, about Warren Lewis, C.S. Lewis's brother, and the correspondence that he develops with a missionary named Blanche Biggs. Remarkable book, remarkable series of letters, and it's been adapted to the stage. It's showing 2 times at the museum this year. I don't know the dates offhand, but I'm sure we can find those and sort of link them in the description somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Her book is wonderful. It's really enjoyable, and also it's kind of an odd feeling reading other people's letters, and also you get them both sides. Unlike in the Bible, where you've got to try and derive context from what's said, you actually find out what was said and what was actually being responded to.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about this new exhibition. What's it called? What have you got to show?
Yeah, it's called C.S. Lewis and the Myth That Became Fact. The title is from an essay that Lewis wrote called Myth Became Fact, where he argues that when Christ took on flesh, myth became fact. And we want to explore what he means by that. So the exhibit focuses on Lewis's scholarly interests, his interests in literature and in mythology, and asks how those interests affected both his life, particularly his conversion from atheism to Christianity, and also his own fiction. Because many people are familiar with Lewis, either because they know his fiction, they've read the Chronicles of Narnia or the Ransom trilogy, or they know his Christian works. They know his apologetics, Mere Christianity, Screwtape Letters. But fewer people, although your audience might be an exception to this rule, fewer people are familiar with Lewis's scholarly side. In his day job, of course, he was a scholar. He studied Renaissance literature. He taught first at Oxford and later at Cambridge his entire life. This is what he did with his days. And so we want to introduce people to that side of Lewis and then show them how those interests affected both his life and then also these books that they know and love.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the moment we've just wrapped up Perelandra, and you can't understand the Ransom trilogy fully until you understand the entire medieval background that he has in his head, and all of that came out of his books and his day job, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so in one of Lewis's most influential scholarly texts is his preface to Paradise Lost, his preface to Milton's Paradise Lost. And in that text, one of the things he asks is what would have happened if Eve had resisted the serpent? And then Perelandra is basically his own version of Paradise Lost in outer space, although he doesn't quite like the term outer space, but out there on another planet. And of course, he explores what happens when she resists. So actually, one of the things that guests can see if they come visit the exhibit at the museum is a copy of the first edition of his preface to Paradise Lost, a first edition of Perelandra, and then Lewis's own personal copy of John Milton's Paradise Lost, with all of his annotations and notes and analysis in the text. That book is kindly on loan from the Wade Center.
I was going to ask, did you guys spring for that, or did you borrow it from somewhere?
Yes, that came from the Wade Center, which has a large. They own most of Lewis's old library. That's one great example of how his scholarly interest shaped his fiction.
Yes, if my co-host Andrew Lazo goes to visit, frisk him at the end. Just make sure he didn't take anything. He really likes first editions.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to see. We have first editions of all of Lewis's popular books, Chronicles of Narnia, as well as the Spirits in Bondage, which is his first published text. There's fewer than 10 copies that survive today, so we're quite excited to be able to show that to people. But in addition to the books, we have handwritten letters and manuscripts, a remarkable letter that he wrote on the value of poetry, the original manuscript of his address, Learning in Wartime, which is a famous lecture he delivers right after England declares war on Germany and enters World War II. And he asks, why bother with all of this education, all of these old dusty books when the world is coming apart around us? And his answer is quite remarkable, I think.
It's basically, we're always on the precipice of destruction. It's like,
it is, yes.
We don't actually live in special times. Yeah, I remember when COVID struck, both Learning in Wartime and Living in an Atomic Age. Those were essays that were heavily quoted by anybody that had read Lewis, which was basically, it's just like, all right, Armageddon's come. It's always here. It never goes that far away.
Yeah. We also have maybe my favorite object in the exhibit, Warren Lewis's typewriter. So we mentioned
from England, because that's normally kept at the kilns.
It is, yes. So it's on loan from the C.S. Lewis Foundation, the organization that owns the kilns. So Warren, for your audience, was Lewis's unofficial secretary for most of his life. And all of the many thousands of letters, Warren estimates he composed over 12,000 letters on this typewriter. All of Lewis's letters to correspondents around the world were transcribed by Warren because Lewis had some issues typing, some problems with his thumbs. And so we have Warren's typewriter that he used for most of his life, which is also the typewriter which he composed his letters to Blanche Biggs on.
Yeah. Do you have any wardrobes stashed around the museum anywhere? Because if not, I recommend locking them because children are going to be trying to get into them.
Yeah. I'll save the surprise for people who visit, but you will encounter a wardrobe when you find the exhibit, and you may need to walk through it.
Okay, excellent. That makes me very happy. When I visited the kilns, there are a couple of wardrobes that were there at the times, and you could separate the people that were on the tour. You know, those of us that were, it could be here. We're gonna try. And for the more boring pedestrian people that just wanted to, tour a house or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so, just remind us, how long is this thing going to be going on for?
It's here. It's open until February 2026. So you've got about 11 months to come visit.
And you're in Washington, D.C. And what's the website where people would be buying tickets?
Well, if they just go to Museum of the Bible and look on our current events or upcoming events page, it's one of the main tabs right there on the homepage. You'll see the exhibit. You'll see all the other things that we have going on as well. You can get a read on what you might be able to experience if you come. And you can buy tickets there, or you can buy them when you get to the museum.
Wonderful. And are you working on anything at the moment that's going to be coming out in the future, either in your personally scholarly pursuits or in particular for the museum?
We do have a lot coming out soon. I don't think I'm at liberty to announce the upcoming exhibits until our marketing and PR folks decide it's time.
You guys have found another gospel, right?
Not quite that, but there are some great exhibits coming up in the next year or two. As I mentioned, we're always rotating temporary exhibits. So basically anytime you come, you get to see a new museum.
Wonderful.
Sort of always evolving experience.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to send Matt there. And actually, even Andrew is talking about maybe coming and visiting early next year. So They will definitely be in the area, and if I can get out of the Midwest, I will too. But Wesley, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And viewers, please join us again next time. We'll continue going further up and further in. Cheers.